I got my first airplane ride from my dad. I was about 2 or 3 years old.
I was in choir at Purdue, and we had a couple of flight instructors there, Brady and Harold, and one of them offered to take me up for an intro flight. So I flew with Harold a couple times, and then a couple more times, and I was buying books eventually and went right to it.
A couple weeks ago, I went on my first flight. I was really excited to do that. It was amazing. It was just so comfortable. I got to do a little steering. I didn't crash, don't worry, I'm still here, so that was great. And it was fun.
I learned to fly at AOPA. Now I have my instrument rating.
I have about 50 hours. I have soloed about 5 times, and it's amazing. And I'm getting ready I'm preparing for my solo cross country.
So I got my license back in 2013, and it was a long process for me, and I was glad that I did it.
When I came here, I had never been in a small airplane before. And since joining the association and starting to work here 20 years ago, I have become a private pilot. I have an instrument rating, and I own a 1968 Cherokee 140.
To be a woman at AOPA, I think it's empowering because I was actually very surprised to find out that there are more women employees than men at AOPA. So it's nice to be among fellow women working for the same goals and towards the same mission. I think there's a lot of camaraderie around all the women that work together, and I think that I haven't really met someone that hasn't been willing to help or step up or lift you up.
I love the fact that every employee has the opportunity to learn to fly. I think that's an extraordinary opportunity to be given.
And so when I found out that it wasn't actually an employee benefit, I thought, well, why not? I mean, who doesn't want to take advantage of benefits? And it just seems like such a cool thing to be able to do. So, yeah, so I'm excited about that.
I didn't think that I would be interested in learning to fly, but when I was working on Flight Training Magazine and I was reading Breg Brown's columns on flying carpet, he made it sound like something fun and something that I could do. And we have such a great program here at AOPA that really enabled me to reach that goal. I tell women all the time that you have to learn to fly because it's going to change your life. And a lot of them will just say, okay, but a couple of them will say, well, why? How is it going to change my life? And I tell them it's because you will get so much confidence. All the little things that may have bothered you in the past, speaking in public or having to do your own tax form or anything, all of that pales in comparison to flying an airplane. I mean, it's just one of the best things you can do. I have wanted to fly to the Bahamas in my own airplane for a long time, and in December I actually did that.
The Air Race Classic is an all-women's air race. You're basically racing against your best time. The Air Race Classic started here in Frederick a couple years ago, and myself and 2 of my co-workers, we decided that instead of just supporting it here at the field, that hey, it'd be fun kind of to do it. So we got the support and the backing, and the 3 of us, we were the AOPA Angels, and we had a blast. It was so much fun. We learned so much.
Flew for the airlines for 7 years before I moved to America. There was an undercurrent of sexism when I first moved, and I lived in the Midwest. But it was quite noticeable that I hadn't experienced previously.
There are times when I'm out flying. I've been in Alaska and they're like, oh, I didn't know you were the one flying the plane. If my husband and I are flying our 170, sometimes people typically think he's the one flying, and maybe he did for that leg. We alternate.
Gotten out of airplanes and people are still looking for the pilot. And oh, there's always room for improvement. Yeah, those attitudes are still very out there. They're not hard to come by.
But it's definitely improving, and there is a huge network of women out there who support each other as well and share their experiences.
I think it's just a shift in mindset that we're going through in this time of our lives. You know, growing up, women were, you know, encouraged to have kids, get married, and jobs were, you know, part of it, but not the focus. I think nowadays women can, you know, do both, and they can reach achievements that they didn't really think possible decades ago.
I think everyone has more progress to make, but really I think we are on a great track. We have so many females working here and so many females flying here. It's really great to see.
I love working at AOPA, and it makes me feel empowered because there are so many people that I can go to if I have questions. And I have lots of questions about flying, I always have. And everybody that I talk to wants me to be the smartest and best pilot that I can be. It's not a competition, and it's not a masculinity competition. So I appreciate that.
I think the culture is really fun. I think people are really passionate, really committed. You can just kind of feel it when you walk through.
Everybody is so unbelievably supportive. It's a real community of people. It's not just people who work together, but it's people who are all involved in the same types of passions and so supportive. Whenever you talk about flying, people don't brag about what they do. They want to know what you're doing, and they want to give you courage and give you guidance and give you confidence and give you help to reach your goals and support.
Some of the things I love about flying are that you can kind of take a break from the day-to-day and you're focused on that one thing.
I really like the sense of adventure and trying new things. So I love that with anything, but recently with flying, for example, I flew the New York City Hudson River Exclusion, and that was my most favorite adventure so far, and I hope to do it again soon.
And it's been an amazing growth experience in terms of self-confidence and questioning, you know, my own abilities and reaching challenges that I never thought possible.